It's thinking about it. And we're live with Terry Jaymes of Lex and Terry. How are you?
I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. I mean, I was at Costco an hour ago, and before that, working and having a little Facebook fight. But other than that, things are good.
Oh, you had a Facebook fight?
Yes. You know, it seems that people, they don't like masks.
No.
They don't want to wear a mask.
They don't. And here I am in Seattle, where it's like the epicenter of the masks. Everybody's doing it here. Everybody's doing it.
I know.
I'd say there's maybe just a small percentage, 5% people that are not doing it.
Yeah, and you live like right in downtown Seattle. You broadcast the show from there, don't you?
Right downtown. Yes, the whole story. The whole show's in this. I'm in my house. The whole show is in Dallas, except me.
Wow. See, that's kind of sweet. How did you end up in Seattle, which is my hometown, by the way?
Well, my agent lives here.
And oh God, I already know who your agent is.
Yeah, I'm sure we do, don't we?
Yeah, I worked with him for a hot minute, but it just wasn't my most productive relationship.
Yeah, we've been with him for a long, long time.
Yeah.
Lex and I don't care about that stuff. It's weird. I think if we cared more, we would move on a little more. But to answer your question, I ended up here because, I was out here. We were on the air here for a while at a radio station called the Funky Monkey in Tacoma.
That's right. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So we were on the air there, and so we were coming out here a lot. And my wife and I, we love the West Coast. She's from San Francisco. I'm from Los Angeles area. Well,
okay. Yeah.
So, and I spent most of my life at Santa Barbara.
Yeah.
And so we did that. We said we wanted to be on the West Coast. But we didn't want to be near family.
I understand.
That's the absolute truth. So we saw a sign that said Whole Foods is coming to this part of town. It's South Lake Union, about 5 blocks from the Space Needle.
Okay, and I mean, I'm sure you know the nickname for that. That was like the South Lake Union Transit, the nickname.
The slut, yeah, the slut, absolutely.
Yep. Somebody didn't think that one all the way through. You had one job.
Yeah, you had one type of thing. Well, I have a great story about the slut. It's a South Lake Union trolley, and they didn't realize that's what the acronym was going to be, the slut. And when they did it, and I saw there were all these tourists walking around, and there was this couple riding bicycles down the street, and it's a guy and a girl, and they're and I could cuss here, can't I?
Oh yeah, I don't care.
Okay, because this is the absolute truth, and it loses steam if I don't say what the guy says.
Yeah.
So they're riding around, and there's all these tourists on the corner, and the guy's bicycle wheel gets caught in the trolley track, and he yells "fucking slut," and everybody thought he was talking to his wife.
Well, I mean,
like,
times are tough.
Yeah, so there's that. What are you making, by the way?
Well, I'm going to make a mojito. I'm making one. I kind of, like I said, I thought I could get it all done. And, the little Facebook fight got me all caught up. So I'm just making a mojito. I've made lots of these in my day. So
yeah,
I have full confidence in my skills to make a beverage. I've made so many beverages that the best thing to come out of this pandemic is I've got a full bar cart now.
Nice. That's one thing. It's like we have every type of booze you can imagine, and my wife and I very rarely drink. She'll drink wine,
Oh, really?
Maybe a glass of wine or two a week. Oh,
yeah.
Let me
cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, what do you got? What is that? Oh,
this is Ula whiskey from a distillery up on Capitol Hill, which is being held hostage.
I know. We got to talk about that. Everyone's like, "I'm so sorry to hear what's happening in your city, Corey." I'm like, oh. That's Capitol Hill. I mean, that stuff goes on all the time.
Yeah, and especially in that neighborhood, that exact neighborhood. If there's a shot, somebody being shot at 2 a.m, it's always that park.
Oh, what park is it?
There we are,
Cheers.
Calhoun Park. Cheers.
Okay, yeah. I mean, we all have crazy stories. I mean, that's where Sir Mix-a-Lot shot, Posse's on Broadway at Dick's Drive-In. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's where as teenagers, when I went to Seattle Prep, which is on Capitol Hill, it's at one end. Bruce Lee is buried at the same end at the cemetery there.
Mm-hmm.
And, we just used to cruise up and down at night, go to Dick's Drive-In and, get your fries and when you're all messed up or whatever.
Well, those fries are terrific at Dick's. The burgers are horrible. The fries are terrific.
I don't even know if I've ever had a burger at Dick's Drive-In.
You don't want to. It's like sawdust. But no, we bought this place because there was a sign that said Whole Foods, and there was Whole Foods is coming. It was nothing there. It was a really crappy little part of town. And so we went online that said they were building these condos in this area. So I thought I would never live here. I thought I was going to I thought I was going to be like a Shark Tank guy and make a little investment. And so it cost like $1,500 to put a hold on a condo.
Yeah.
A condo. And it wasn't going to be built for like 3, 4, 5 years. So I figured, what the hell? Why not do it? So I actually clicked penthouse. I didn't even care how much it was. I wasn't even going to buy it. That was the whole thing. I clicked penthouse, and they had a camera on this lot, and all of a sudden you could see these things being built. And we're going, oh, crap, we actually got to buy this place now. So we bought it, and we started to come here a lot and enjoy it, and I'm not necessarily a big Seattle fan. I don't like the weather so much, although today it's 71 and not a cloud in the sky.
I mean, it's pretty mild when the mountain's out. It's good. Yeah,
people are super nice. We've made some good friends. It's good to work here because nobody listens. The show's not on. And so nobody listens to the show. So I could, just do whatever I want to do and be whoever I want to be. And it's great.
Right. And I know you and your wife have started a podcast too.
We have a podcast. In fact, by the way, I wanted to just add all the stuff that's built on all these high rises and everything else. We ended up I think it's luck. We'll see eventually. I live right in the middle of the Amazon campus now.
Oh.
All things around me are all Amazon.
Oh, wow.
So I live right in the middle of the campus. It's really odd. You walk around, everyone's got their little laminates on and, being weird, but it's weird. So I hope I got lucky there.
Yeah, I would say so. And for everybody that's asking, I'm drinking a mojito, and the recipe is like the first comment in the comments.
Oh,
super easy. But it's as one of my radio friends used to say, because I ordered this drink at a hotel at Morning Show Boot Camp in Chicago. He was like, "You are so selfish. That is the most selfish drink you could ever order from a bartender," because it's a little time consuming, but it's very delicious.
So you got lectured on your drink. That's not good. So I have never been to a Morning Show boot camp.
It's fun. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen. They pushed it back to September this year, Don Anthony.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's going to actually happen, but I love them. It's really just kind of like a reunion,
Yeah, we don't do many of those. In our entire career, we've just kind of gone by under the radar, It's weird.
Well, not really. You were nominated for a Marconi. If you want, if you're still bitter, we could hunt down Tom Joyner. I think doesn't he live in Arizona or something?
Yeah, I'm not bitter by any means. We got nominated the same year he did, and I'm trying to think of a guy in Atlanta who worked for Cox Broadcasting at the time. AM big talk show guy, Neil Bortz.
Yeah. I think he might still be on the air here.
We'll be there. And Neil called our show. We were working for Cox at the time too, and he called our radio show and he said, "Are you guys going live on the air?" We said, "No, we're not going to win. Why would we go to this thing?" And he said, "Well, I'll pay for you if you go." And we said, "No, we're not going." We said, "Tom Joyner's going to win," and there you go. I'm not. And it wasn't like I get uncomfortable with those things. I love radio more than anything, but I'm not one of the radio people. It's really strange.
Really? See, I always tell people it's my first love. It's really what I love to do. I was out of radio for 2 years and 7 months before I landed here in Atlanta, and I'd lived in Florida for something like 17, 18 years. Mm-hmm. And I miss Florida and the craziness there, but it exists everywhere, frankly.
Oh, absolutely.
But Atlanta is it's so huge. It is so huge. There's more radio companies, but fewer people in radio at this point. And Tuttle wants to know if you're near a dispensary. Oh, Tuttle, they're everywhere.
Oh, let's see here. I'm looking out my window. I can actually see 2 or 3 right now.
And aren't you like right across the street from the police station too?
On one of the police stations, yes.
Oh, yeah.
I live catty corner. The first night here, living here, I'm hearing all these sirens, and I said to my wife, I go, God, is this the murder capital of the world or something? And then I looked outside and went, oh my God, we live right next to the police department.
Oops.
Yes.
Oops. You got to check out the neighborhood.
Yes, absolutely. So, there's dispensaries everywhere. I've never smoked pot my entire life, still haven't. I very rarely drink.
Okay. Sidebar. Have you had an edible?
Now, I'm glad you asked. Okay, so this job, it's horrible. The hours are horrible, especially where I am right now. I have to get up at 2:30 in the morning, to be on 3 East Coast time.
Yeah.
And everybody else is in Dallas. And, I don't know why I ended up here. I'm still trying to figure that out. But I was taking Ambien every once in a while, and Ambien works on me. Ambien, it does. I don't do any of the weird stuff. I don't have the weird dreams. I don't eat. I don't go ahead and do stupid things like Tiger Woods, or I don't do any of that.
Yeah.
But, my wife said, why don't we go to the dispensary and get an edible here? And so we did the research, and it was, indica.
Okay.
Which is the strain that you need for relaxation, for that.
Yeah.
So I bought this. I bought a candy bar.
Oh, okay. Yummy.
And I'd never done anything like this. I ate this thing. I'm laying in bed, and they say it doesn't go into action for another 2-3 hours or something, is what they say usually.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I'm laying in bed a couple hours later. I'm watching the news. I'm laying on my side, and I'm going, nothing's happening. This is the lamest stuff ever. I can't believe I did this. And then all of a sudden, my nose was itchy, and I thought to myself, I'll get to that a little later. I was even going to pick my hand up to scratch my nose. I started to laugh, and I went. And ever since, I use edibles to go to sleep a couple nights a week.
Yeah. I mean, that's the problem, and especially during this pandemic. I just went through a lot last year. I moved, from what I knew as home for 17, 18 years for a new job. Then that job changed 6 months in. And, by October, I drove myself to the emergency room with an ulcer, legitimately.
Oh my God.
I know it was very stressful. I thought I was handling it, but apparently I wasn't. And my brother's given me some edibles before. I don't smoke anything. I don't like to smoke. I mean, this is my moneymaker.
Yeah, so true.
Or as my 5 or 6 year old nephew called it, no, Aunt Jan, that's your baby maker. I'm like, no, it's not. It's not.
Kind of point on that one, but okay.
He's very cute at 5. He didn't know what he was saying. But everybody's on something, and it kind of became, I don't want to say fashionable for everyone to sort of admit it, but everyone's in therapy and everybody's on some sort of anti-anxiety drug. And frankly, during all this, when everybody's having trouble sleeping, that's what that is. It's anxiety and stress.
Yeah, I guess so. Because I'm not on any anxiety stuff. It feels like our whole show is, but me, it's pretty.
You're the sober, whatever. Somebody has to be the designated driver, I guess, huh?
I guess, but I'm usually that guy. I'm the guy that says, "Well, we got to get to bed early. We have a show tomorrow." I mean, right now, and this is the truth. When I just said show tomorrow, my palms started to sweat. I love doing it so much that is. I still get that feeling.
You have a visceral reaction.
I still get that feeling. And when that feeling goes, that's when I'll be done.
That's pretty amazing. You were already set up to do it the way that you're doing it. I mean, for a lot of us, literally my setup is at the end of this kitchen counter. I'm doing my show from my kitchen counter, and I'm on 7 days a week. I mean, there are no days off. I mean, it's good to love what you do.
Yeah, I'm in my guest bedroom. My commute is 45 feet to work. But when we first moved here, I didn't do it from the house. I was working. I got a weekend job because of one of the podcasts that I do called Terry Jaymes Alive.
Yeah,
which is kind of it's something I started 10 years ago because I wanted to interview people that have inspired me. I'm a self-help guru guy. I love that stuff. I love it more than anything. I'm weird about it. I believe in the universe has got my back. I'm just all over that. I'm the weirdest guy in the world when it comes to that. Right. So I don't even know where I was heading with that. I forget where I was headed, but Terry Jaymes Live. So I decided I was going to do this show where I interview people that inspire me. And I get a call from a guy named Larry Gifford, who was the program director of Cairo FM.
Yeah.
In town here, which at the time, the number one talk station in town. And he said, hey, you living in Seattle now, huh? And I said, yes, I'd never met him. And I said, yes. He said, well, how would you like to do a weekend show here in Seattle, your own? I said, what show? He goes, Terry Jaymes Alive. We want that. I said, just like I'm doing? He said, absolutely.
Sweet.
So I said, okay. So I started to do that. I did that for a couple years. And then they asked me at that point, they changed format on the weekend. They didn't want all fluffy stuff. They wanted some news on the weekend. And so then they asked me to do news talk. And I did that for about 2-3 months and just to challenge myself. And I hated every second of it. So I quit.
Oh yeah. At Cairo, you did it?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So
I had a couple of interviews at Cairo. I would love to work there, but they didn't ask me to.
Well, they should.
Well, one never knows. I mean, my whole family's back there.
They do. There's a lot of changes. We got a lot of contacts over there still. So
no, I'm under contract, Terry Jaymes. Don't you be
pernicious interference. I learned all about that in Atlanta.
Yeah, I know. Well, speaking of people that inspire you, I assume you posted this picture again recently when Chris Cornell died, and one of my weirdest experiences, and I was all by myself when I used to produce the Robin and Maynard show in Seattle at KZOK, which I believe Bonaducci is still doing right now.
Yeah, so I bump into him every once in a while.
Do you? I mean, he's on the no alcohol, no everything train too, I believe.
Oh yeah, yeah, he'll lose his mind. So yeah,
I mean,
yeah, he was a good guy.
Yeah, but I was driving. I think my routine used to be I was producing the morning show, and then I'd go home and take a nap, and then I'd get up and go for a run. Like, wasn't it great to be 25 once?
Yeah.
And then I used to run along Alki Beach, and I remember when I drove down, and just when you take that turn, kind of, and then you're on I can't even remember what that drive is, but the main drive that goes along Alki Beach Drive, whatever. I saw this guy coming, just walking alone on the side of the street in West Seattle. And I'm like, that's Chris Cornell. I mean, he was so unique. I mean, a great looking guy, but very striking looking. You don't miss those eyes and that dark hair. And I mean, just what a sad thing. And Seattle, just so many guys have just let it get the better of them. I mean, unfortunately, the suicide capital of the world produces some great talent, but troubled guys.
I've only met Chris once, and it was a really weird situation. He was in Dallas this is when I was working in the studio with everybody, and he was in the studio. And this is when PPM ratings just started. So everybody was afraid we can't interview Chris Cornell because we need to play music instead. And literally they gave him like 2 minutes on one of the stations there. And our producer walked down the hall, D, and he saw Chris sitting there. He goes, "Hey Chris, what's going on?" He goes, "Well, I don't know. I'm waiting to go on and nobody's talking to me." So D said, "Well, we have a syndicated show down the hall. Why don't you come in there?" He hung out with us for 3 hours all morning.
That's sweet. Oh my God. Do you still have the audio?
I'm sure we do somewhere. I don't even listen to our show because I'm sure we do.
The reason why I ask, and Pierre Bouvard says hello. Pierre.
He is the reason why Lex Terry is Lex Terry.
Really?
Absolutely.
What a good guy. He works for Cumulus. He works for the company I work for. So, but yeah, I, one of the companies, which shall remain nameless, that I used to work for, it's their policy that if you're gone, either by their means or yours, they delete everything that you have done. So I may or may not have worked for a news talk station in Florida. We may or may not have had interviews with presidents and politicians. And Chris Kyle, the American sniper, and when he was killed, when we went to go look for the interview, guess what? It was gone because the producer had left. The producer wasn't even on the interview,
and he kept everything.
They dumped everything. I'm like, that is the stupidest thing I've ever heard of in my life.
Yeah, it's that's a loss right there, because that's something that people would love to listen back to. Let me just say one quick thing about Pierre Bouvard, if you don't mind.
You can say anything you want at any point.
Pierre, and when I said that he's the reason why we are what we're doing, it is 100% true. When Lex and I first started, the very first day we were on in Jacksonville, and Lex had already worked there before. I was new to town.
Yeah.
And they said the very first day on the air, the general manager called halfway through the show. His name's Mark Schwartz. And he said, if this is what the show is going to be like, I want Terry back on a plane to California.
I read this story, yeah?
It is absolutely true. And Pierre was doing a bunch of research, and I know he could correct me if I'm wrong here, but I this is the way the story was to me, and I'm pretty sure that this is the way it went down. Pierre was doing research, and he told the general manager, if you fire Terry, you are firing what's going to be the number one show in town in 3 months. And to the day, almost 3 months later, we went from 17th to 1st and stayed there for the next, 26 years now, 7 years.
How long did you live in Jacksonville?
Off and on. I've been there a couple times. I was in Dallas a couple times. I lived in Jacksonville for probably about 8 years.
Yeah.
Or more. Yeah.
And I know you had a nickname for it. What is it?
Freakville?
Yeah, Freakville. That's what.
Yeah, everybody calls it Freakville still. It's we learned that the underbelly of what's going on in Jacksonville, everybody thinks, it's a good old Southern boy town. There are some freaks there, and we just opened up the lines and said, let's show you a freak. And
let your freak flag fly.
Exactly, and that's what happened. And we just dug into an underbelly of freaks there, and it just took us into a whole new ratings planet.
Right. Well, and I'm sure being in Seattle right now is helping that. And it's so funny because growing up in Seattle, I moved there when I was, I think, about 6, and I left, right after 9/11. I had lost a job right before 9/11, and it took me like 10 months to get another one. And that's what brought me to Florida. But I didn't realize, you live in your little bubble. I didn't realize what a little bubble I was in. I didn't realize it was a super liberal place, and it's become even more so, I think.
Yeah.
Bellevue is actually the town I grew up in. That's across the lake. It's the suburbs, or it used to be, but now it's a city. It's bizarre to me.
Yeah, it's crazy. I do like it here for the most part. I really do. And but right now everybody's like blaming me. All of our listeners are like, "Oh, you big pussies in Seattle, you big babies. You're afraid to take care of your own." And I'm like, okay. I posted a picture online yesterday, and to me it was one of my greatest online comebacks ever.
Okay, let's have it.
I almost wanted to retire. It may not be so great, and I tell the story, but to me it made me laugh. I posted a picture of this restaurant right below my building.
Right.
That was open, and we've been waiting for this thing to open. It's like, oh my God, it's open. They put some tables out in the parking lot. There's like 6 tables, white linen. And so I post a picture like, oh, look, they're just sharing. They're opening up the restaurant right below my building. And there was a comment below that said, oh, the restaurants in Jacksonville are opening too. And then there's another comment from a guy that says, what are you doing about this social unrest and the fact that people in Seattle are running amok and there's no leadership there? What are you going to do about it? And I just wrote back, I'll bring it up at the next meeting. What are you going to do, really? It's not my fault, okay?
Well, you are there.
I am there. So I guess, but my wife and I, when this whole thing happened at the Chop, we walked over there, or Chop or Chaz, whatever they're calling it.
Is it a new restaurant or the Chop House? Or
no. Actually, I'm talking about what's going on up in Capitol Hill, the riot.
Oh, yeah. That's what they call it, the Chad or Chop or.
Yeah, we walked up there, Chaz. That's what it was. Yeah,
Chaz, like Chaz Bono. That's what it is.
But now it's Chop, and we walked up there, and during the day, because somebody had sent me pictures of guys wearing semi-automatic weapons around and all this, and as my buddies were sending it to me, I'm going, what is this? So I didn't hear anything about it, and it's literally walking distance from my house. I could walk over there in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And so, yes, absolutely. So I go online, and I'm going, what they're sending me is not what's really happening here. So then I later found out that Fox News got in trouble for photoshopping the guy with the machine gun in there. They used the same picture of the same guy in 6 different photos.
Shut up.
So they had to apologize all about it.
Well,
so
they probably did the dump on that one at like the middle of the night or something, because I didn't see an apology from Fox News.
Yeah. So we walked up there during the day, and there were people dancing and singing and passing out pamphlets and free vegetable stands, and it was weird. It was like,
Otherwise known as Wednesday on Capitol Hill.
yeah, exactly. So there was that, and but yeah, there's some idiots up there now that don't want to leave, and I guess today they tried to move them and they wouldn't move, and so now it's gonna. I don't know. I have a feeling this time next year there'll be a plaque up there that said "to the loss of lives" or something. But who knows? Who knows?
Well, I mean, what my company has done, which to be honest with you, I think it's the best case scenario. They've put us all on a 3-week non-consecutive unpaid furlough. So for my last furlough, it started essentially the day after the protesting and rioting started here in Atlanta. Yeah. So I was expecting to see everything the next day, but whatever. And it continued. I mean, the protesting and demonstrating and things like that. But there were some guys up at the oh God, I'm already forgetting what the restaurant is. What's the? No, I want to say Dairy Queen. It's not that. But what up in here at Atlanta, where Ray Shark was
Varsity.
Killed. No, it wasn't the Varsity. Wasn't the Varsity. I'm sure they're glad about that.
Restaurants. So
I know. I can't even believe I don't remember right now. I mean, there's so many dang fast food restaurants here, but there were guys. I mean, maybe that's where Fox News got the picture, because there were guys open carry with long guns, and they finally just removed them. I don't know when. I don't know how. But it's been a little nuts here. But it's like I don't leave the house. I don't leave the house when I'm here.
Yeah, we don't go out much at all right now. Still. How did you just make yourself another drink?
Maybe.
God bless you.
I know, and I haven't had. I think I just had breakfast. I'm just like, well, it's very busy when you're fighting on Facebook about ridiculous stuff with people. I think I was called like the Antichrist today, actually.
Yeah, I don't like getting in many fights online, but you catch me on the right day, I'll continue a fight with somebody for 7 months if I have to.
I love that. I love that about you.
Yeah, but I just don't find I just don't have that energy. I don't want to be around all that negative stuff. I go out of my way to try to be positive every day. I
do too. I mean, all I posted was the article. I don't even know. I shared it from somebody else's page. It was simply an article that said in Florida and Texas, well, in Florida specifically, they tested positive for almost 9,000 cases yesterday. And I said, y'all ready to wear those masks and social distance yet? And of course, I'm literally the Antichrist, because I apparently don't believe God's going to save us. And I believe in vaccinations and yada, yada, yada.
How dare you have an opinion?
I mean, on my own page, by the way.
Yeah. And not only that, it's this is where it's all sad to me, is when did a virus become political? I don't understand it. I too would like the economy open. I would like everything to be back to normal and all that. But I also would like to, I don't have the right answers. I don't have the answers, but I'm just doing what's asked of me by people, just by being a member of society. That's all I'm asking people to be. I'm not trying to make a statement one way or another. I'm just doing they're saying is best. That's all.
Well, right, but they don't think who is they? That's the thing. Are they the protesters? Are they the government?
What channel you listen to? What 24-hour news channel? So
I know. I mean, to me, it's common sense. It's like, believe me, I've gotten a flu vaccination forever. I've got elderly parents that are cancer survivors, a younger brother who has a kidney transplant from my dad. Mm-hmm. And so he's immunocompromised forever. I mean, if and when I can get back to Seattle for Christmas, because that's where Santa knows I live, I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, I actually might go by and try to get tested this weekend. I'm trying to leave it to the people that are symptomatic, but of course we don't know. Yeah, I'm kind of curious at this point. I'm like, do I have it? I don't know.
Or did you have a mild case of it that you're over it now? Who knows? All I know is I want it to end. I want things to get back to normal. I want us to be a happy society. And I just want to tell dick jokes on the radio.
Right?
It's not a bad recipe, is this?
No, I mean, and not necessarily in that order.
No, exactly.
I know. So what has this pandemic been like for you guys? When did I've been working from home since March 13th. So when did you get put on lockdown, or when did like everything change for you guys?
I'd like to say it was about a month before that.
Oh,
Remember, Seattle was the one that
that's
got
right.
it first.
Yeah.
And they did their self-distancing. People were wearing the masks. And because of that, it's still here, but it's it's leveled out. And, people are still doing what's been asked of them. It's been horrible. It's been absolutely horrible living downtown where the energy, there's a reason why I live downtown. I love that energy.
Yeah.
I just love it. And all of it, that energy went away overnight. It's weird. There's no traffic. There's nothing. It's strange. Yeah.
I mean, and that's the thing. For the first week of my furlough, there was nowhere to go. Nothing was open. Yeah. But for the second week, I did go down to Florida, and I suppose I was probably one of the guilty ones. I went out with some friends. We went to a cigar bar. We were hanging out in downtown St. Pete and just having a blast. And but other than that, I was social distancing. But now I would like to go down again next week for the 4th of July week, and I promise I won't touch anyone. I won't see anyone. I'll just wave at a distance. But it just sucks that people. I don't understand. Like, why don't they get it? Like, you can't wear a mask. You can't social distance, because then businesses can continue to stay open, right?
Yeah, the argument there is that a lot of these businesses are like, well, at 35% capacity, that does nothing for us. So that's their big argument. But you're right. It does feel like, if you're out doing things, like a lot of the patios are open now. Yeah. I would feel totally comfortable going out to eat on a patio now. I don't, this isn't a hot spot anymore, my county. But for a while ago, my county was the number one county. There were, 40, 50 deaths a day. It was brutal for quite a while.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely was. But, I'm in, what county am I in? I think I'm in Fulton County here. Mm-hmm. But there's like a billion counties in Georgia. That was news to me. But, I don't know. The smartest people I always knew, including like Maynard, I remember Maynard telling me how he hustled his way through, boot camp and college and whatever. You have to figure out a way to do things differently, because I don't know that we're going back anytime soon. Well, so even nail salons that are giving away kits or selling kits to get your nails off or things like that. I'm like, think outside the box, figure it out. You have to.
I got my haircut last weekend, and it was really bad. I looked like Susan Boyle. It was, oh God, it was bad.
I was going to say you look like her right now. No, I'm just kidding.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah. So cute. So to kill time, it's like, okay, well, there's been plenty of nights or days that I'll just have nothing to do. And I'll just go do a podcast, or I'll create a new podcast. I don't know how many podcasts I have. I have no idea anymore.
I'm like at least 2 that I've counted, 2 or 3.
Called Gang of Two, right? Which is really going over well. She has no desire to be on the radio, never has, still doesn't, thinks my job is absolutely ridiculous. But her theory is, if you're doing what you love, I'm happy. She's never been into this type of stuff. Yeah. And I called her in here. I was recording one day. I called her in to talk to me. I set up the other microphone. And it turned out to be pretty good. And I had to beg and plead and go, come on, I won't post pictures of you that you don't like. I had to make all these deals. But now the show is great. It's called Gang of Two, a hilarious look at coupledom from a couple of dumbs. And we've been married 27 years.
Wow, good for you.
Yeah, and it's been great. We have a great relationship. We laugh. There's not a day that doesn't go by that we don't have an absolute belly laugh with each other, tears coming out of the eyes. It's really good. So we decided to do I decided I'd like to try to bring that personality, because I wanted everybody to see how she is. Yeah. She's beautiful. First of all, she's, she looks, she's 54, but she looks like she's 34. And, and she's funny and dark-witted and smart. And I wanted everybody to see that. So we're now doing that show, and the numbers just keep going up and up and up. Good. And we actually are doing we've just been contacted by I don't want to say where it is yet, but a newspaper, online newspaper, and a local newspaper of cities to do an advice column.
Oh, good.
So we're going to start doing that called Dear Dumbs.
No, with you guys don't have kids, do you?
No kids, no pets, nothing.
Is that? I mean, do you have any plants? I don't remember seeing any plants on the patio. No
plants. Sherry's great at plants. In fact, we have hummingbirds that come up here all day long. They sit in the tree. They sit here. They sit there and stare at you. They're hilarious. We feed them. And then now 2 other birds just built a nest in one of her planters on the other. We have 2 patios. This is the guest room I'm in.
Oh.
And then the other side's got a big giant patio, and you can bring the TV out and swing it out from the other bedroom and just watch TV outdoors. It's great. And but she's got beautiful plants out there, and there's 3 or 4. How many birds, Sherry? What? How many baby birds are out there? 3 baby birds that they're feeding right now. They made a nest in one of her planters.
What are you feeding? What are you feeding these birds?
We're not feeding them at all.
Is it PETA approved?
Yeah, we're not feeding them at all. They just like us for some reason.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I bought a bunch of succulents because you don't have to talk to them. You don't have to even look at them. You have to water them occasionally. And in fact, when I went out to get my mint plant last minute, I was like, oh God, I didn't water that today. It was looking very sad, but now it's back to life.
See, we're growing mint on our patio right now.
See,
you need them for your mojito.
Yes, I did. That's what I got it for. I got the mint plant at Home Depot up the street. I see your plant. What is that plant?
I have a plant on my desk.
There you go.
Yeah, see?
There you go. That looks like bamboo, lucky bamboo.
Yeah. Is that even considered a plant? I don't think it is.
What do you mean? Yeah, of course it is. Why is it not considered a plant? Okay, wait. D. Reed wants to know what you're drinking.
D, D's our producer. And
he is. He's your producer.
Star of our show. Yes, D is awesome. I love D. D, I'm drinking smoked whiskey, my man. D is a big part of the Lex Terry show. D has been with us for, God, I don't know how many years. Well into double figures.
Wow, is he a Texan?
No, he's a Floridian. He's from Tampa.
Oh, he's from Tampa?
He's from Tampa, Plant High School.
Plant High School. Well, that's where the fancy kids go.
I know. They dumped him in because he was a great football player.
Oh, he was?
Yeah, still is, I think. He still thinks he could play.
Well, I mean, hey, it worked out for Rudy. Can't he just show up for some training camp and like
exactly?
Doesn't he have any connection? He probably has connections in Tampa. Yeah. I mean, look at everybody that lives there. I mean, they've got all those what's his face? Help me out. I'm like a mojito and a half in.
What?
Brady and Gronk. I mean, does he have no connections? I don't believe he. I'm sorry, D. You got no credibility with me right now.
He'll get him. If there's anything to get involved in, D will do it. We were in Las Vegas doing our show, and we got invited to some weird party, and I didn't go to that. And I'm walking to my hotel room at night, I see this big commotion going on. And there's a big banner of it looks like a big Hollywood party. And there's D walking in with I'm trying to think of the guy's name. Is a big action star.
Rock?
God, I can't remember the guy's name. Anyway,
Sylvester Stallone. Who else?
maybe a little smaller than that. But anyway, so here's Dean walking in with this guy. I'm going, what are you doing with him? He goes, I'm just gonna roll with him. My buddy's his bodyguard, so I'm gonna hang out with him all night. I was like, okay, it would not surprise me to see D having lunch with Tom Brady's that one day.
You need to D is slacking on the job if he does not get you like John Cena, Tom Brady, any of these guys that are in Tampa right now. All these retired ball players are living in Tampa. All the wrestlers are living in Tampa. He really is slacking on the job. I'm sorry, D. I hate to throw you under the bus, but it's just happening.
He'll get it. Trust me. He will make it happen. He's money.
D thinks it's Vin Diesel.
Vin Diesel, that's who it was. That's who he was hanging out with.
You think Vin Diesel is a lower class action star?
To me, he is.
I love it. I heard Vin Diesel do, I don't know I think it was a Dodge commercial or something. And I didn't know it was Vin Diesel. And his voice, I do voiceover too. Voice over, let me enunciate with Mojito in my face.
I love it.
But Vin Diesel, his voice in this commercial, I was like, I didn't recognize it at first. I was like, who is this? It's amazing. His voiceover, his commercials are unbelievable.
That's my wife's superpower. Anytime there's a celebrity doing a voiceover, she knows exactly who it is.
Really?
Be a B, C-lister, doesn't matter. She knows, she could tell voices like you wouldn't believe. One of my old producers, when I worked at K-Tide in Santa Barbara, he was my first producer, and he has gone on to giant things. He's the voice of Obi-Wan Kenobi. He is Fred Flintstone. His name's James Arnold Taylor.
Okay.
And he's made quite a career doing voice stuff.
I would say.
Yeah, he's done quite well and still doing it. So
I would say. So this guy Ian Murphy. Ian is I guess he's a retired hacker. He showed me some video from Good Morning America from literally the 80s. I don't even remember the guy that was the host in the 80s of GMA, but he's a hacker. He knows how to hack. Hopefully he's hacking for good and not evil. We have
a lot and listen, as you know, in this job, especially with the Lex Terry show, people really bond with you on the show. Your listeners are not just listeners, they are family.
Yeah.
And we have a lot of them that are participants in Anonymous. And anytime you complain about or something like that on the show, they're like, give me his name, I'll take care of him. I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm telling you, I could probably get a hold of 10 of those people right now if I wanted to.
Okay, but this Anon group, #Anon, they think that Donald Trump is actually leading that Twitter, right? You know that, right?
No, I don't know.
Well, I'm just telling you, that's what they think. They think it's actually Donald Trump. I'm like, listen, Donald Trump is not keeping a secret about anything. He wants a lot of attention.
Oh, absolutely.
He's up for re-election.
Absolutely. It's weird because I don't get into the political stuff. Our show, we do not talk about politics at all.
Yeah.
We made a conscious decision to stay away from it, give people a little bit of a few hours a morning of lightheartedness, burping and farting and yelling at each other, and let everybody else argue all day long. We just, we do everything we can to not talk about it. I don't know if that's
I get it. No, yeah. I get it. And I don't either. I mean, I've unfollowed or hidden lots of people because of that, because I used to work in that realm. And I know how one-sided it is and just illogical it is. And I'm like, I don't want any part of it. But today is a good example. I mean, go back and look at my page just 2 hours ago. All I posted was, hey, y'all ready to wear masks and social distance now? And people are like, you are the Antichrist.
Oh, yeah. I don't know how you put up with that. I posted one of the black square thing when everything happened. I was like, oh, it's like
that's nice.
I posted it and to just show solidarity, whatever, and the next thing you know, I got death threats.
You got death threats?
Oh, a lot.
I'd be on the phone to the popo right away. I'd be like, I got names. I got direct phone numbers.
Over, and that's why it also is fun to have hacker friends.
Yeah, I know. You got it all. Okay, you've been doing radio for so long, successfully. I mean, I've been doing it off and on successfully-ish.
I was
for
off
a long time.
Yeah.
What's that?
I was off and on as well for a while.
But I mean, there are so many people. I mean, I would love to hear your perspective about what's happening in the industry. And I know that there are a lot of people, including Jeets. I mean, he lost his job. He was working at KISW. He was working at other great radio stations. He's a Seattle boy. I mean, I know that people are just, our friends, everyone in radio, everyone's sort of scrambling. Like, what do we do? What's happening?
No, I wish I had the answer. I still feel blessed every day that I get to work. And I think this is where it's lucky that we did not have a home base, that we are our own entity. We're our own company. We deal with, I mean, we're in conjunction. We work with United Stations out of New York, who syndicates us. But other than that, we're on our own. And because we were syndicated to a bunch of different markets and smaller and medium-sized markets, we've been able to keep our job. If we were just a morning show with, a big staff making stupid money, we would be the first people gone. So I consider myself completely lucky because we're in that phase. We are actually getting calls from radio stations right now saying, hey, I think for syndicated shows, this is good for us.
Yeah,
But I feel so bad because I love, as we talked about, I mean, I love radio. I did it for the longest time. I worked so hard to get into it. My first job was at K-Tide in Santa Barbara, and I lived in my car for a year and a half. I was working 10 at night to 2 in the morning. And I finally got a full-time job. I worked there for years before they gave me an opportunity. I was passed over by everybody. Even in college, I went to college, and even in college, I couldn't get on the college radio station because they said I didn't have a good voice. And it's funny because now they email you and ask for money for donations for their program.
Yeah.
I'm like, screw you. No, I'm holding a grudge on your ass. And so I was doing that, and I got the 10 at night to 2 in the morning shift, and I didn't have enough money. My parents had died at a young age, and I had nowhere else to live. So I was just sleeping in my car. I didn't know I was homeless. I never thought I was homeless. I was doing everything I loved, and it happened because I interviewed, what's a chick from the Bangles, Susanna Hoffs.
Yes, she was hot. She was
super hot, right, at the time. Super hot, and she was flirting with me. And I'm like, what am I going to do here? This is great. And then made a comment like, hey, you want to meet at a party in Los Angeles? And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to drive my house over there. So nothing like that ever happened. And so that's when it hit me. I'm like, I'm living in my car. But I didn't care because I loved what I was doing so much. Yeah. It didn't matter. I would get off the air in the morning at 2 in the morning, go in the production room and do a whole nother show for nobody, and I still would do things like that.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the story. I mean, I'm getting a little tipsy because I haven't had anything but breakfast and mojitos.
Keep going.
I know, right? This is fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I've never been anything but my dad's daughter and living at my parents or living on my own and trying to make it happen. And thank God for my parents for making it happen. Where was I going with this? I don't know, but you just keep talking because it's live.
Yeah, there's so much to talk about. And with you and I, there's so much excitement about this industry still. And
yes,
to answer your question, so I was doing that. Then I got on a radio for a while. I got on a soap opera. I started.
How long were you on a soap opera?
I had a recurring role. I've done a lot of different shows, sitcoms and all this other stuff. Just small parts, Is
that Paul Anderson getting you all those parts?
Oh, this is well before Paul. Kirk Cameron's mother was my agent. So,
really?
Yes, Barbara Cameron was my agent.
Wow.
So I was getting, a little bit of work, and I was doing things, and I got on the soap opera, and I started doing stand-up comedy, which is, I love comedy. I study it. I just love it. And I was doing stand-up comedy regular in Vegas 6 weeks out of the year at the Improv. And I was never a headliner, but I was working my way up to it. Then I got a little scared. And then the soap opera got canceled. That was on another show on Fox called Pure Insanity. It was a pilot I did with Kevin and Bean.
Okay.
But that was on a show on Fox called Comic Strip Live and Sunday Comics.
Okay.
And I would write a lot of the comedian in between the big stand-up comedians like Seinfeld and whatnot. There were these like Saturday Night Live skits, and I would write a lot of those and act in a lot of those.
Okay.
And so I had a regular on that, and that show was canceled. The soap opera was canceled, and I said, "Screw this! I'm getting back into radio. I like a regular paycheck." So then I moved up to San Jose, got a job at KOME. As part of a third person / producer of a morning show, just to get my feet wet.
How old were you at this time, though? Do you know?
I'm really bad at that. I would,
because that's the thing. It's like people, I mean, they ask me for advice stuff, and it's like whatever it takes to get into it. And anytime somebody's asked me to like speak on how to get into radio, I'm like, well, how old are you? Because not everyone has. I mean, at my age and your age or whatever, it's like, are you going to do that? Like, you can't afford to. I understand that.
No, exactly. So, the way radio has gone, and it's gone through so many changes, and I'm amazed that we've been able to keep our job, and I'm knocking on wood, but I know that day's coming one day, and then even after, let's just say Lex and I get blown out or retire after 35 years of doing it, we'll get all the messages on Instagram and Facebook. I told you you'd never make it, so that's the way it is.
Right.
But yeah, so I really think that, and I feel so bad for people that do not have jobs. There's so many good people out there. We even had to get rid of somebody on our show because of financial reasons. But there's, there's so many good people out there that deserve jobs. But I refuse to believe it's done. I don't know if I'm being romantic about it. I don't know, but I just think that with podcasting, with everything else out there is opportunity out there for everybody to reinvent themselves, to do what they really wanted to do in the first place, to do the content they really wanted to do instead of hitting your time and temps and all that.
Yeah.
Show who you really are and make find out who you are, find out what your voice truly is, which I've been doing on Terry Jaymes Alive forever, my podcast, and find out who you really are and just let it out there and let the people hate you. I mean, I started to think.
Yeah, they're either going to love you or hate you. And one of my former bosses told me, if they love you or hate you, you're a star. If they just don't care or don't know your name, then you're screwed. Yeah.
When I started doing Terry Jaymes Alive, it was such a departure from what Lex Terry is. I was getting people going, oh, you stupid homo. It's like, God, because I'm talking about positivity, and how to incorporate that and make that into your life. When I was young, my parents were very old when they had me. My parents were in their mid 40s.
Really?
I have a brother that's 75 right now. One of them's already passed away at 74. My sister's 70, and then there's me.
You were the baby?
There was a big mistake type of thing, And I just, I don't know where I was headed with that. See, we're both on the same page here. But,
I mean, you don't drink very often. So just one little sippy poo, you're like, oh, I'm wasted.
It is just, I just love what's happening right now. I really do. And I really think that people can find out who they truly are and what they truly want to do and find a way to make a living. You may not be making $1 million a year anymore, but you could easily make 6 figures.
I have never made $1 million, but I will tell you, you are right. And that's what I try to impress upon people, that you have to be inventive. You have to be just sort of creative with how you're making money. You just have to figure out how to make money.
Yeah. I was talking to Adam Carolla, and we were talking about this.
Name drop.
No, well, I'm just sorry.
No, I love it.
I was talking to him, and he was saying, I had to explain to my wife that we're not going to get those big checks anymore, and I had to show her that it's like a bathtub. Now, the way the industry is now, it's like a bathtub with a bunch of different spigots going into it, filling it up. You've got your podcast money, you have your book money, you have your stand-up, your speaking money, you have all and it all just kind of flows into one big bathtub now. And he had to explain that to her.
Oh, he had to explain that to her?
Yes.
I mean, come on. Adam Carolla is like up here, and most of us are like, there's a lot of $50,000 a year, maybe, employees in radio, and they're all getting canned. Whereas there's a few guys, I won't drop names.
Do it.
Bobby Bones. Okay. There's a few Bobby Bones.
Oh, okay.
That are making money. And I Bobby's a nice guy.
Yeah.
In fact, the funny story about Bobby is he's so unassuming that the last time, I think it was the last time, or maybe 2 years ago, that I was at boot camp, I walked by him in the bar, and I thought, some guy ripped off Bobby Bones' look. I didn't even think it was Bobby.
Yeah.
But it was him.
Yeah, it's, this is a weird business. It really is. And, I've had moments of very huge success, if whether it's career stuff, or whether it's financial success. I mean, there was time that I was getting paid money that I would laugh. It was embarrassing. Yeah. It was embarrassing.
Like Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan said his 100 million is embarrassing, and I would agree.
Yeah, but you know what? If they're going to pay it, then fine. But we were making, I'm not going to say how much, but we were up there for a couple years. Okay.
Yeah.
And it was ridiculous. You'd get checks and you'd look at each other, and my wife and I would look at each other and go, "Oh my God, my parents never made this in 2 years of work, and this is a bonus check."
Right.
It was just crazy. But the point is, I never really, I'm still working as hard or even harder. It's never been about the money, although it's very nice. Yeah. But I just love the process of it. I love, it's Friday. I got off the show, and I already have written about 8 different things I want to talk about on Monday.
I know. Well, there's a lot drunk DJs out of Atlanta, or girls doing whatever stuff. I mean, you guys used to do the, pardon my French, in the South, but drunk bitch Fridays.
Yeah, it saved our career.
Here's the thing: your career?
Drunk bitch Friday saved our career.
Really?
Yeah, one single bit did.
Because I will tell you this: that I remember other people did that, and was it Tom Likas that used to do that too? Did he rip it off from you? I feel like he did.
We were. I don't know if we were. I never heard it from anybody else, but there might be some sort of thing out there. But
I know, years ago, he was on in Seattle, and that's the last time I listened to him. I mean, that's the last time I heard him. He used to do the flash thing, and I remember you commented on a tweet or whatever, because I mentioned that Tom had blocked me.
Mm-hmm.
And it was because when the NHL said something about maybe a female coach, I was like, oh my God, Tom, get over yourself. Who cares? I mean, anybody and everybody that's commentating on any male sport, most of them haven't played it. I mean, Alex Rodriguez, can we be honest? He's a horrible commentator. Horrible. He's terrible. But he's
a great entrepreneur, though. Now he's really into that.
Well, and I think J-Lo.
I'm a big sports fan. So
Yeah, I know. So are you which sport are you most excited about coming back? I mean, I love baseball.
I love baseball is my number one love. However, I played basketball in college, and I also played in Australia for a little while.
Okay, wait, how tall are you, Terry? I didn't know this.
I was 6'4".
Really?
Yeah,
are you starting to shrink?
I think I'm probably about 6'3" right now.
Really? That's so funny. My grandma, when I was in college, I remember driving home from Washington State University. I forgot to put sugar in my mojito.
No, that's
my grandma. Sugar.
Yeah.
I was driving home from Washington State University, and because there was a snowstorm, I mean, we looked terrible. We looked like absolute garbage. My girlfriend and I, a friend of mine, and I, lest anyone misinterpret that. And it took us 8 hours to make that 5-hour drive from Pullman to Seattle-ish. And I walked in, and my 80-something-year-old granny was sitting in the living room, sitting down. And she's like, "You're so tall. Are you a model?" And I'm like, "Grandma, I'm 5'2". No. I'm not a model, and I have not grown. But that is a story.
Yeah, no, it was basketball was always my number one love. That was it. I loved it more than anything. And then after high school, when I was never a good player in high school, I wasn't a starter of the team or anything. And I got a job working scrubbing floors at a supermarket after high school, after I graduated.
Yeah.
And I figured, well, this is, I signed up for some basketball classes. I signed up for other classes at Saddleback Junior College in Mission Viejo, California.
Okay.
And Saddleback at the time was the number one junior college basketball team in the nation. Everybody on that team had already signed big scholarships to go play at Division I schools, but they had to get their grades up. So they were there doing that. So I would go from work to the school, and I would oftentimes find myself asleep in the car in the morning. I'd go, I missed class, but I always made basketball class. Yeah. And the basketball
class,
there was just like a class for college credits, just a college credit. Okay. It had nothing to do with the team or anything else. And this is a pivotal moment in my life that really made me believe in, I don't know, the universe a little bit.
Yeah.
I was in the basketball class, and the coach knew me from high school, knew that I loved basketball, knew that my dad had just died.
Oh.
And he called and he said, "Hey, what size shooting there, Terry? The basketball class was over. I was just in the gym shooting by myself."
Yeah.
And he said, "What size shooting there, Terry?" And I told him, and he goes, "Don't go anywhere." And he left, and I'm sitting around shooting, going, "I'm going to get out of here. This is weird. What is it? Why did he ask me this? This is weird." And it was taking longer, and I'm going, maybe he forgot. And next thing you know, I'm getting ready to leave, and he walks in the door, and he says, "These are for you. You're on the team. I will get you a scholarship at a 4-year school. If you just stay here for 2 years, I will make sure that you get a scholarship for basketball." And just because he knew I loved the sport, I was not good. I did not deserve to be on the team or anything like that. I got better as I got older, but he also is one of those people that really completely changed my life. I would still be working at that supermarket today. I'd be the manager now, but
I mean, you would maybe own it.
Maybe, but it was, and that's really what happened. He took care of me. He made sure that I had a 4-year scholarship deal.
Wow.
I had choices to go to which school I wanted to go to. It was just an amazing thing, and all because of a coach saw something good in me and gave me an opportunity.
I mean, that is honestly amazing. It's kind of like the story of Rudy, right? It's like he just wanted it.
Yeah, and I'm not joking. I'm horrible. I was a horrible basketball player. I could shoot just as good as anybody else, but I was slow and skinny. I was 6'4", about 130 pounds. It was ridiculous. I would take my sweatpants off, and I'd hear the crowd go, like gasp, like, "Oh my God, look at those legs!" This is true. It was so bad.
My God. Gangsta girl. What?
Yeah.
I know. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it's a good thing or a sad thing. Like, I'm friendly with Laura Oakman. You know Laura Oakman?
I don't know Laura, but I see Fred Jacobs here. Love Fred.
I love Fred. We love Fred. Yes. Fred Jacobs. Laura is she's a sideline reporter for Fox Sports. She's one of the only women in the NFL that does sideline reporting, and she's done it forever. And she's all about women and trying to bring women up and all that other stuff. But it just didn't exist when I was coming up. And frankly, it still doesn't exist. I've had people tell me like, "Oh, I would like to hire a man," to my face in Seattle. I'm like, really? Like,
that's okay. Crazy. Yeah. Huh? That's crazy.
It's just stupid. It's just stupid. I mean, we all just need to get over that stuff, in my humble opinion, and just get it done. Like Fred Jacobs would do. Fred, for anyone that doesn't know, Fred is sort of the godfather of any kind of classic rock format. Am I wrong or am I right?
You're 100% right. Fred was our consultant when Lex Terry were at Rock 105 in Jacksonville. He was our consultant and helped us out quite a bit. Yeah.
Yeah. He's one of the only people that would actually meet with me when I was unemployed. What's that?
He doesn't help me out now, but that's okay.
He's a big star now, Terry. He is a big star now.
I know he's we've made some really neat friends in this business, and there's just some really special people that are dreamers in this business. Where do you really want to go? What was your when you got into this, what was your ultimate destination?
Me?
Yeah, you.
I don't know. Honestly, growing up in Seattle, I used to listen to guys, even Rick Dees or just other guys in Seattle radio. And I thought I could do that. And it had nothing to do with my voice or whatever. I just thought I wanted to do that. I just thought it sounded fun and exciting. And so that's where I went. I mean, I went to Washington State University to the Edward R. Murrow School of Communication.
Oh, nice.
I mean, maybe you've heard of him, but
name dropper.
Well, and here's the funny story. Here, I know. And speaking of name dropping, here's the funny story. So Edward R. Murrow went to Washington State University, which the school is named after him. And it used to be an agricultural college. It was, I don't want to say nothing, but it was tiny. I mean, Pullman is still tiny. It's just this little town in Eastern Washington that I think when school is in session, it's like 25,000 people, maybe more now. But most of those people are collegiate kids or whatever, including my nephew. Hi, Jack. And then, and there's a story that he was a houseboy. Okay, so I was in a sorority, and he was supposedly a houseboy of my sorority, or just a houseboy in general. And houseboys, for those people that don't know, put out the food, and they call the sorority girls fat and and whatever. They do what they do, or they date the sorority girls and marry them, or whatever. But Edward R. Murrow was supposedly a frat boy, houseboy of my sorority. And they literally brought in a real cow at one point into the house that I lived in. I don't know what the message was, no. Edward R. Murrow.
So that just goes to show you that Edward R. Murrow even was just very, very immature like we are.
Well, I mean, in college, you have to have the college experience. You have to
do that. Or you still do it at my age. So that
well, you know what? But that's a blessing. It really is. I mean, not that I'm like #blessed all the time, but it's just, people, my parents are products of, they're both 81, and they are both products of like the post-war generation, and I remember my dad being at one point, he's like, why are you being so negative? And I was like, I didn't know I was being negative.
Yeah.
But they don't complain about anything. And they have cancer. Oh, well, we'll just figure it out.
If I find myself complaining, it's usually because I'm trying to find a joke in there. But there's no need. Then you can spend just as much energy not complaining as finding reasons to, to complain.
I mean, it's funny. I think negativity and stuff like that can be funny. I mean, some of the podcasts I like and listen to are funny.
Oh yeah. I mean, there's a big difference between self-deprecation and complaining. Being a whiner.
Right. Right.
But yeah, it's it's just I still think we're pretty lucky. I still think that there's a lot of opportunities for people to make things happen. Guys like Fred Jacobs, who was just on here. He's I love following Fred on Twitter and reading his articles because he's still swimming deep in this, and his constant passion in ways just motivates me. Like I'm not alone. I don't feel that this is the end of the earth. I feel that there's still some magic out there waiting to happen,
Yeah, I sure hope so, because that's what I hope for. And I know a lot of people that are watching hope for, because but they also have to, you do have to, I learned years ago, I think when I was working for Cox, actually, I'm like, nobody is going to take control of your career the way that you are. So you need to build your own website, make your own podcast, whatever it takes to further your career. Just do it. Do it.
And that's a great point you bring up. If I was doing, which I still do, my own podcast, and do these, and I've had opportunities. People have approached me and said, why don't you join our network? There's only one thing I've done. My Terry Jaymes Alive one is heard on what's called the Empower Radio Network, but I'm still own it and I still do everything I want with it. But if you just grind it out, if you have the ability to grind it out, don't give anybody a piece of it. Like you said, you just don't want to. You maybe you go into business with an ad agency or something, but don't get an agent. Stay away from that.
Really? Okay.
Absolutely. Stay the F away from it when it comes to podcasting.
Okay, podcasting. What about radio? I mean, and really, what advice do you have for all the people that, it just breaks my heart every week. We're seeing people furloughed, fired. There's so many people. And I'm like, use your skills. For voiceover, for podcasting, just start your own thing now. Just do it.
Yeah, that would be my advice. This is an opportunity to find your voice, to find out what you really want to talk about, who you truly are. And you'd be surprised and make some mistakes. You don't have a consultant telling you suck. You don't have somebody telling you got to, tighten it up there. Learn, fail, do all of that. And you're going to find your voice, and you're going to have an opinion that people are going to really like, and there's going to be some people that really hate it. But that's what it's all about to me. It really is. And that I believe that, and I'm working on something right now that is a whole different show, but it has to do with radio. But I'm working on something right now that will have somewhat of a podcast sound to it. Because I love the way they're produced. I like the whole thing, and it may work on certain radio stations. It may not, but I'm going to give it a try. And this, not unfortunately, I am working with my agent on that a little bit, but I had to. But I'll tell you, I've had this idea that I've run by him for years. And he's like, if there's not a lot of money in it for him, he's not going to work. And finally, he sees an opportunity with what's going on in this industry right now with this idea that I have, and he's on it. We're on it. We've got, pitches. We've got everything ready to go.
Well, so for everyone else, where do you see this opportunity? Like, where do you see they should focus their energy to make a living at some point, to feed themselves and their families?
Well, man, I used to be able to predict radio. I used to be able to predict what a radio station was going to do, when they were going to change format, what format they were going to do, what shows they were going to put on. About, 2008 or so, before, when all this PPM started and all the fear came in. It's almost like the radio's virus, this whole rating system. And it just took off and made everything crazy, made everybody act crazy. And it really took away from the creativity of it all. And I think that there's going to be an opportunity for that again. But I also think that the way that you're going to get your practice in, the way you're going to find out who you are, is through podcasting. And all the other things that come with it, whether it's a YouTube channel with your podcast. My wife and I are about to stream our Gang of Two show. We're going to be streaming it live as soon as I figure out how to do it. We're gonna be doing that now on Monday afternoons. It's going to be live, and if that goes well, I'll do it a couple days a week. That goes well, I'll do 4 days a week. I don't care, because it's becoming popular enough now to where I can do this and it'll pay for itself. I really think that if you really have an idea and you really think you can stand out, now is the time to do it. Right now is the time to do it. And there's so many opportunities out there to find your voice and to fail. And I think that eventually, where else is there a radio? Because I don't think people are going to get rid of radio stations, right?
No, but they're going to get rid of a lot of talent, I think.
But eventually they're going to have to figure out, slowly but surely, that's what separates radio stations from each other. It's not like we play more Tom Petty than the other guys. Who owns, where can you go to listen to Corey? Where can you do that?
Right.
And so it's true. And, and you have a lot of fans out there, and a lot of people that like to hear you and are invested in your life. And nobody gets invested in radio stations anymore. They get invested in the people that live on those radio stations. And that's the way it's going to come back. And how else are you going to be good at it? Get deep into who you are now, because it's not going to be personality like, this and that. We'll be back in 2 seconds. We've got and it's not going to be like that. People are going to buy into who you are now and get invested in your show, your life, your family's life. And that's what's going to save radio, in my opinion. They just have to figure the shit out.
You're right. And so we just need to figure it out for ourselves and just try it. I mean, it's never been more cost effective, and I'm happy to tell anybody the equipment I use or what you could use. I mean, for like $1,000, I know it's a lot, but for $1,000, you could set yourself up for podcasting, for radio production, for radio broadcasting, whatever. I mean, really, that's a small investment.
And there's so many platforms you could use, whether it's your own YouTube channel or, wherever you host your podcast. And, it's a lot of work. I mean, I do the podcast and it takes me, 45 minutes to do a show. And then it takes me another 2 days promoting it and making a little flyer for it and doing all that. I mean, I'm hustling my ass off. I'm working harder than I ever have. But I'm loving it. And that's what's funny, is that the people like you, the people like me, and the people that have been let go, and the people that are still in radio, we have that passion for it still.
Yeah.
And and the people are out there. Radio stations just need to bring them in. And, you know, I used to love the radio stations I was on. Don't you say anything bad about my radio station, you know, and those are my people, you know, and right. I think that's what's needed again. And the only people that are going to bring it back are the people that are passionate about it. And that's what you are. And that's what all these other people are. If you have to take a job selling real estate while you're doing it, do it. Yeah. You know, we all have to hustle. But if you still want to do it, I really think that not only do you have an opportunity coming up, but you've got an opportunity to make some real dough in it too.
Right. I believe you. And I believe in you. And I love you for coming on.
I appreciate this. Thank you for having me on. I really enjoy it.
I mean, I love you. And I really hope I can come home to Seattle and see my family and see you. Maybe we'll have to social distance, but I'm good with that because I don't know you that I don't know you like that. So we don't need to hug. I really would love it.
I'd scare you. I'd stalk you. That's just the way I am.
No, you wouldn't. Your wife is blonde and she's gorgeous. Like, forget me.
No, what? She'll end up stalking you then. No,
okay, I would like her to stalk me. Yes.
But thank you so much. I love what you're doing. It's great that you keep the conversation going. You know, I love following you on all your social media platforms. And when you come to town, if I'm still living here, I'm trying to move. I'm trying to figure out where to move to. My wife and I can't agree on it right now. This is the biggest debate we have at the house. So, but you know, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen as far as that goes, but you're keeping the conversation going, and it's so needed out there. It really is. And I really appreciate what you're doing.
You're a doll. I love Drinking with the Stars. Terry, you are a dream. I love you. And hopefully we'll get to see each other soon. And
that'd be great.
I'm gonna end this soon so that nobody can grab this video and go, she's wasted. I'm like, yeah, clearly.
Hey, that's what it's all about. It's happy hour. I only had one thing because it was like 2:00 here when we started. So
I know, right? So, all right, hon, have a wonderful weekend. Give your wife a hug from me, and I hope to see you soon.
Anybody else that watched, thank you for being here, and follow Corey. And I'm telling you, we really appreciate your time.
Gang of two, and you, Lex and Terry, and you, and everyone.
It's all out there. Thank you.
Have a great weekend.
You too.
Bye.
Bye-bye.